Welcome to Soda Mixing. I'm your host, Sodanonymous. Today's episode, I'm mixing milk and Coke. So because this is the first episode of Soda Mixing, I'm going to kind of explain how this is all going to work. Basically, instead of my normal video format where I review an individual soda and I may compare and contrast it with another soda, in this series of videos, I'm going to be taking a soda and I'm going to be mixing it with something else. So in this particular episode, obviously, I'm going to be doing milk and Coca-Cola, but I have a bunch of ideas along similar lines. I'd like to try mixing Coke and Pepsi, or any other soda with another soda. I've heard some other homemade mixtures that people like. For example, people put peanuts inside of Coke. That's also very popular. I'd like to do all kinds of weird stuff, orange juice, whatever. So if you like this video idea, if you like this content, let me know down in the comments below and I'll be sure to make more. It's not going to replace the normal review schedule, the normal reviews, because that is going to be the core of my channel. But if you do like this as a bonus or as a separate type of content, let me know and I'll be sure to make more of this kind of content for you guys. All right, well, let's get started. First things first, we got the fun facts. Let's go over that real quick. Milk and Coke doesn't seem to have any historical or regional precedence, though from my research, many individuals will claim a personal or family recipe of the mixture. Pepsi and milk was featured as a favorite mixture of the television character Laverne from Laverne and Shirley. Supposedly the drink was a favorite of the actress Penny Marshall, and the writers incorporated that into her character in the show. Milk and Coke has recently become more relevant after a Twitter user by the name of James Felton earlier this month claimed the stuff was delicious and popular in Birmingham, England. Lots of Twitter back and forth and news articles were written, some claiming it is actually pretty good, while others claim it's kind of nasty. So anyway, well, with this out of the way, let's get on with the mixing. Another thing, before I start cracking these open, I would like to mention that I got kind of a variety of milk here for you, and I've also got a little bit of variety in Coke. What I really wanted to do is run the whole gamut of what Coke and milk mixture could be. So what I've done is, first things first, I've got the, well, let's go over what the stuff you're probably familiar with. First, I've got the whole milk. It's standard whole milk you can buy at any store. I've got 2% here, so it's like a reduced fat milk, and then I've got fat-free or skim milk. Something else that I also got for milk is UHT milk, and the only reason I got this is the recipe that James, the Twitter user I mentioned before, said for the perfect milk and Coke called for UHT milk. To go off on a quick tangent on what UHT milk is, it's basically a different way to treat milk. So all milk is pasteurized, well, except for raw milk, but that's the fringe health market will go after raw milk. But in terms of what's readily available for most people, milk is pasteurized. This is just an additional pasteurization process that pretty much kills any bacteria possible in here, so it's super sterilized. And the interesting thing about that is when it's boxed like this and it's sterilized, it can actually last for 6 months, and that's what its expiration says. It says August 2019, and it's March right now. So this is going to last a while, and if I didn't open it, which I'm going to. But yeah, the only reason I've got this this specific kind of milk here is this is the type of milk that's popular in England. It's what the guy who's propagating the milk and Coke sort of mixture recommends. So we're going to try this first, but I do also want to see what normal milk that Americans are more used to, and see if there's really a big difference, if there's any difference at all, if he's just got the British pride and that's why he's recommending this. So those are the different kinds of milk. Got two kinds of Coca-Cola here. We've got your standard high fructose corn syrup Coca-Cola. And if you didn't know, Coca-Cola in the United States is sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. So it's not cane sugar. So it does taste a little bit different. I've detailed my opinions on that in my Mexican Coke review, which I will link down in the description below if you want to see the difference between sugar Coke and high fructose corn syrup Coke and what I think about that specifically. Also, I've got the aforementioned Mexican Coke right here. So this has the cane sugar inside. So, you know, it's going to taste a little bit different. So yeah, basically I'm just going to be mixing these around, figuring out, you know, if there's a mixture that's that I exceptionally prefer, if there's any that are significantly worse. But this is what's going on in terms of what we're working with. The very first one I'm going to be doing is what James recommends, which is going to be the UHT ultra high temperature milk and regular high fructose corn syrup Coca-Cola. So I'm going to be mixing these two together, and that'll be my first time having milk and Coke. I should admit right now, I've actually had milk and Coke before, though it's kind of on a technicality. So I didn't have it in response to this fad, or even the same way that this fad is saying it should be drank. I actually tried milk in my Coke when I was a kid. I was a little kid, and I drank a lot of Coke. I had milk around the house, and in my mind, it sounded like a good idea at the time to sort of make a creamy Coca-Cola. That's what I wanted. It was sort of like a vanilla Coke, but more milky. And what I did is I took a Coke and I poured a little bit of milk in it, almost like how much you would pour in a cup of coffee to sort of lighten it up. And unfortunately, if you don't know where I'm going with this, milk and Coke, if mixed in that sort of a ratio where there's much more Coke than there is milk, has an interesting chemical reaction. Basically, the acidity of the Coke attacks and instantly curdles the milk. So you get this like gross, almost pulp look, like full pulp orange juice, but it's these white flecks inside of your Coke, and it tastes gross, and it looks like jelly. So if you do want to make a milk and Coke, and you do want to practice and shift around the ratio a little bit, just be mindful that you're probably going to want to do a significant amount of milk. If not a majority amount of milk, nothing less than, I would say, a third, because then you're going to risk the milk curdling, which is, take it from me, it's nasty. I'm going to link a video down below of somebody doing that experiment, just in case you want to know what that looks like, because I'm not going to be doing that here. That's outside the side of the scope of this video. Yeah, that's everything that I have to say in lead up to my first mixing of this. So yeah, let's get started. All right, milk and Coke. I'm excited to give it a try here. I haven't had it, like I said, since I was a kid, and it turned out so terribly back then that I sort of ruled out in my head that I'd ever get to try it again, because I figured it just wouldn't work. So it's really nice to hear that it actually does work, and I can kind of validate my ridiculous idea as a kid. So that'll be fun. I should say, as an American, I've never had UHT milk before. It is kind of bizarre that there is a kind of milk that can last for 6 months without being refrigerated, and it's in a box. It's kind of strange to me. Apparently this is way bigger in Europe than it is over here, but yeah, over here this is kind of weird. So this is going to be the first time I'm trying it, so I was thinking I would give this a sip first, just to make sure it tastes like normal milk. It's not going to be anything wacky. And I'm not going to review it or anything, but I'm just going to give it a try. It says best served chilled, so I made sure to have it chilled. And it says shake well, and I've given it a nice shake before I started filming. So this should be all set and ready to go. So I'm going to pop this guy open here. Okay. And let's give it a taste. So this is UHT milk. Yeah, I mean, it tastes like milk. I'd say it's about an average milk. There are some higher end milks, tend to be organic, that are a little bit sweeter and more pleasant. But then there's a lot of milks that are worse than this. The dollar store milks, the really low quality milks, have a lot less flavor and are more watery. So this is pretty good. Yeah, it tastes like standard milk. I don't really get any chemical flavor or anything weird from the sterilization process. So that makes me happy. It's pretty much, for all intents and purposes, normal whole milk. This is what he recommended, so this is what we're using. And I'm also going to have the high fructose corn syrup Coca-Cola. The only reason it's in a glass bottle now is I have found that glass bottle retains the flavor the best. So this is just for consistency's sake. But if you're doing it at home, you don't need to do glass. You can get this exact same product in a can or a bottle. It's the same high fructose corn syrup Coke, so don't let that stop you from sort of following in my footsteps here. Let's pop this guy open. Okay. Now what James said was the optimal mixture should be 2/3 Coke and 1/3 UHT whole milk. So I've got measuring cups here, so we're going to do that. One measuring cup is going to be dedicated to the Coke, and one's going to be dedicated to the milk. So let's pour the Coke out first. Let me try to find here. What are we looking at? We got milliliters, and we got cups. Well, I'm an American, and we're going to do cups here. So I'm going to try to pour 2/3 of a cup. It's kind of hard to see the lettering on this one. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that's 2/3. Okay. And then we can pour that in here, just for context. All right. And then we're going to do 1/3 of a cup. Let's see. Okay. Let's pour the milk nice and carefully. All right, and let's cap that back up. We don't need spillage here. Okay, in goes the milk. There you go. Not a full glass, but enough to give it a try here. So I'm gonna give it a little stir with the my plastic stirrer, and there we go. There is Coca-Cola and milk. So immediately right off the bat, I'm noticing a froth forming. It's sort of reminiscent of a melted Coke float. So if you don't know, a Coke float is where you put vanilla ice cream inside of Coke. It's typically with root beer float. But you can get a Coke float, Dr. Pepper float, anything float really. And when it melts, which is how I prefer to drink it really, it starts to look something like this. It has a similar kind of bubble consistency. and it's a nice color. It's kind of a creamy color. It looks pleasant, so I'm kind of excited. All right, well, let's give it a smell here. It's not a strong smell. It smells like the Coke, typical Coke smell, but it's significantly more subdued. So it's just sort of a hint of the sweetness of Coke and a little bit of the spices. The milk isn't much of an aspect of the smell. There's a little creamy note there, but the smell is very tiny. It's not significant, and what is there? It's mostly the Coke smell. No weird smell. Smells fine. It's just not a very strong smell. All right, well, this is exciting. This is going to be my first time having a properly mixed Coca-Cola and milk. Coke milk, milk Coke, I don't really know. But yeah, let's give it a try. So, bottoms up. That's actually pretty good. In fact, I would drink this again, I would say, right off the bat. I think that this is a good mixture. I'm trying to take it in. It is a very interesting mixture. It's not quite what I was expecting, because with a melted Coke float, you do get the sugar from the ice cream in there, and it's definitely a lot colder. So it's a different experience than drinking it like this. But I do like it like this. It definitely subdues the Coca-Cola to an extent. So you're not getting as strong of a bite. There's a little bit of a bite, but it's not as strong of a bite. In terms of the sweetness, that's subdued as well. I wouldn't say as subdued. It's pretty sweet. Definitely the predominant flavor is Coca-Cola. But it's almost a milkshakey kind of Coca-Cola. The milk aspect sort of adds a creamy sort of overtone to the main Coke flavor. So I would say the Coke flavor is about halved. It's still good. It's pretty much the same flavor, so the flavor itself is not being masked too much or manipulated in any way. It's just kind of being halved, like if you took Coke and poured it in water 50-50, it would be a watered down Coke, but it would be half the flavor. This is kind of like that, except it's got a little bit of that melted milkshake taste, vanilla milkshake, where it adds a creaminess to the taste. It's not a strong flavor. It's just kind of an accent point. What I think is really interesting is what it does to the texture of the drink. There are bubbles, but they're micro bubbles. They are really, really tiny and smooth. It's almost like a nitro brew. It's very silky smooth in your mouth. So drinking something that tastes like Coke, but with this kind of mouthfeel is pretty interesting. There's no bite, like I said. There's not going to be a bunch of carbonation, so it's not fizzling, in my mouth or bubbling up, in the drink. It's just kind of a smooth, Coke flavored milk kind of beverage. It's soft. It's nice. I like it. I would want to toy with this a little bit more to find my perfect ratio. I think you could probably improve on this. I would like to see what chocolate milk would look like. I'd like to see what slightly more Coke, slightly less Coke would look like. I would like to try a bunch of stuff with this. But as it stands, as the James recommended recipe with the UHT milk, and the high fructose corn syrup Coca-Cola in the ratio that he described, it is enjoyable. I like it. In terms of a rating, I'm torn between a 6 or a 7. I'm going to err on the side of 6, but this is a potential 7. I'd like to try it a little bit more. I'd like to sort of drink it recreationally and see if it grows on me even more, because I feel like it might. It's definitely on the positive side, so it's not a negative. I like this. It's just I'm not quite sure how much I like it yet. It is kind of a bizarre flavor. It almost ceases to be a soda in a sense. It's got the taste of Coke, but it's not really bubbly. So it's this weird middle ground beverage that I'm not fully equipped to sort of articulate my complete feelings about yet. But I would say definitely give this a try. Give it a try. Take a look at it. Mix your own mixture. And I think you're not going to spit it out. I don't think you're going to spit it out. I think you're either going to be weirded out or you're going to be on board. And that's what it's going to be. All right, well, I've got Mexican Coke here, which is made with real sugar. And we're going to just try that side by side just to see if it tastes significantly better that way or not. So let's give that a try. All right, let's go. So we've got the Mexican Coke right here. I'm going to try to do 2/3 of a cup here. Where are we at here? Oh, come on. There it is. There we go. Okay. And the milk. Same milk. Now I'm going to try bog standard milk as well. I have a feeling it's going to be very similar results. Just because the UHT milk tasted about the same as regular milk. So unless there's some strange chemical reaction or something, this should be pretty much the same beverage. And if it's that way, then great. As an American consumer, you won't have to go out of your way to find special milk for your milk Coke experiment. You can just kind of grab your milk that's available. All right, let's mix this up. We got, well, because it's the bubbly one, we'll put this one in first. We got the Coke, Mexican Coke. We've got the milk. There we go. And let's give it up a little stir. So this is the Mexican milk Coke milk. Coke milk. I like Coke milk better. We'll call it Coke milk. Mexican Coke milk variant. Let's give it a try here. I think this might be a little bit better. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you would know that I actually prefer high fructose corn syrup Coke to Mexican Coke, which is kind of a little bit out of the ordinary for soda aficionados. But I just think that regular Coke has a bolder flavor in terms of the Coke flavor. Mexican Coke is great, and I put them neck and neck. Mexican Coke tends to have like a brighter taste, which I like, but I just prefer the regular high fructose corn syrup Coke. But I think in this instance, the brightness of the sugar is making it come out more in the milk. And I'm going to do a little back-to-back here. So you got your regular here. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's fairly consistent with what I say with Mexican Coke and Coca-Cola with high fructose corn syrup. If you want sort of the bolder flavor of Coca-Cola in your Coke milk, use regular Coca-Cola. If you want something a little bit sweeter, a little bit more desserty, if you will, it tastes a little bit more like an actual Coke float, you should use the Mexican version if it's available to you. But these are really close. I'd rate them about the same. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. These are both a 6, but they're both really good. All right, well, I'm going to cut here, and next what I'm going to do is bring out the regular milk, and we're going to compare that to the special British UHT milk versions, just to see if you can just grab your regular old American milk and make a good Coke milk. So I'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so I've sort of set up everything for round 2 here. This is a fresh UHT Coke mixed to the normal proportions as laid out by James. 2/3 Coca-Cola, 1/3 of the UHT milk. And then I've ruled out that I prefer regular high fructose corn syrup Coke, so that's what I'm going to use moving forward here. So the Mexican Coke is kind of out of the running for my ideal Coke milk experience. So besides mixing this up, I've brought out the whole milk. This is standard, bog standard whole milk that you can get easily in America. And I've also got skim milk here. Now, I'm going to do the whole milk first, just because it's the most appropriate comparison with the UHT whole milk. And we're going to see if there's really any difference there. So I'm going to mix it up the exact same way that I mixed this one up, and we're going to give it a comparison try. So, first things first, let's do this now. So I'm going to fill this up to, let's see, I'm going to fill this up to 1 1/3 cups, 1 1/3 cups, if you're following along at home. Where are we at? Okay. Almost there. Just going to need a little splash. Okay. There we go. And we're going to pour that in here. There we go. And then standard, not expired, regular milk here. All right. You know, it's been a while since I've had milk. I actually really enjoy milk. I drank it a lot as a kid. I'm going to fill this up to, what am I going to do? I'm going to do 2/3. I had a lot as a kid, but I haven't drank it much recently. So it's kind of nice to get back into drinking a little bit of milk. I'm probably going to drink these once this experiment is done. But I tried a little bit of the Coke, more of the Coke milk off screen, and I think it's growing on me. I think I like it. Ooh, are we gonna make it? Yep, there we go. All right, this is your American high fructose corn syrup and bog standard milk right here. Can't get more American than that. This says it's hormone free, so you know it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's probably a little bit less sterilized than the British version. Okay, that's been mixed. Now what I noticed right away is this seems a little bit more frothy than the one that I made with the UHT. I don't know if it's the milk itself or if it's just the way I mixed it, the way I poured it. I don't know if that's contributing to it. But as you can see, I've taken a few sips here, but this is the same mixture. All right, let's give it a comparison. So the American version. Yeah. So there is a flavor difference. I think I'm going to break the sacred rule of moms everywhere, but this milk is mine and mine alone, so don't judge me. But I'm gonna give this a taste here. Yeah, it definitely has a bit fuller of a body. So I don't know if that's indicative of the UHT process itself, or if that's indicative of this particular kind of milk. But this is, you know, Publix brand normal milk. It's not anything fancy, but I do think it is a better tasting milk than the UHT milk. It definitely has a fuller flavor, and that comes through in the Coke milk. You definitely get a lot more of that creamy, milky taste that I was looking for. This just has a hint of cream sort of at the top of the flavor, where all the deepness and body of the flavor is just the Coke. So it's a watered down Coke flavor with a creamy sort of surrounding. Yep. Where the American version that I've made here is, it has the similar Coke taste. It's about the same in terms of watered down. The mouthfeel is about the same. I'd say it's a little bit less smooth than the European version. So that's kind of interesting. The micro bubbles are much the same, but it's slightly less smooth, slightly more of a cola texture. But the carbonation's really not there, just like the European version. And most importantly, the milk flavor definitely comes through in the body. So it's not just sort of an accent point. I'm getting a little bit of the main body of the milk flavor, which is sort of this sweet, creamy flavor. Instead of the sort of outer reaches of the milk, it has the sort of deeper middle note body of the milk incorporated into this drink. I think it tastes a lot better. This is definitely on King of the Hill right now, where it knocked off the European version. This isn't bad. I like it. If you live in Europe and you are just dead set on your UHT milk, you're probably not going to mind this. But as an American, don't go out of your way to get that special milk. Get your bog standard milk. Even do better than this. Get, you know, your organic, your favorite milk, whatever your favorite milk is. Use that for Coke milk. It's better. It's not having any weird reaction or anything. He said it was going to be nasty if you use any other kind of milk. Well, I think he's exaggerating there. This tastes good, if not better. This is definitely a 7. Might be approaching an 8. It's really growing on me. I think I like this. Same level of bite. They're fairly similar. It's just the milk flavor that's different. All right. Well, with that out of the way, let's take this guy out of the equation. And you're on deck. You're the new champion. So now we're going to try skim milk. Just in case you're looking to get a little bit less calories in your Coke milk. You're looking to watch your figure while drinking Coke milk. I should say right off the bat, definitely a whole milk fan. In terms of milk, whole milk is my favorite. Skim milk is by far my least favorite. I think it tastes kind of like white water. It's not really good. But I understand that a lot of people drink skim if they're looking to sort of manage their weight. Some people prefer the taste. I don't really understand that, but I'm going to give it a shot, see if it comes out substantially different. So this will be interesting. Let's mix this one up right quick. So we got the milk right here, and we get the Coke one right here. What I'm going to do is we're going to do 1 1/3 Coke. 1 1/3 cups of Coke, I'm sorry. I should be specific. Going through all my old Coke stores. All right, what do we got? There it is. There she glows. All right, and then this is going to be 2/3 skim milk. Yeah. I haven't bought skim milk in a long time. Not a fan of skim milk. Not a fan. But who knows? This is we're playing with fire here. We're in unexplored territory. This is the Lewis and Clark of soda experimentation. So let's let's see what we can make here. First, get the Coke in there. Okay. And the milk. Let's give it a good old stir. This definitely has less froth. I'm wondering if the skim milk is the culprit there. Let's do a little visual comparison because I have a feeling it's going to look different. I could be wrong, but let's take a look here. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different. I would say the skim milk version is a bit darker, which means it doesn't quite mask the Coca-Cola as much, whereas the full fat milk definitely makes it look more like a chocolate milky look. This definitely looks more like Coca-Cola with something in it. It's a lot less aesthetically appealing. Not that that matters too much, but it is worthy of note. All right, let's give a comparison here. We got skim milk Coke and whole milk Coke. Let's go. Honestly, it's not bad. I would drink this over skim milk, funnily enough. I think if you are looking to, how do I explain this? If you want more you want more of the Coke flavor and less of the milk flavor, skim milk might be the way to go. It is definitely less pronounced in terms of the milk. For giggles here, let's bring out the European and compare European whole milk to American skim. Okay. Closer than you'd think, but the European whole milk is stronger, as I'd hope it would be. But the skim milk is a bit weaker than the whole milk of both versions. You almost just get just a hint of the dairy taste, almost just the sweetness that you would get from milk, just those sweet notes inside of the Coke. The Coke is definitely lighter. It's a friendly drink. I think people could sip this down. Like a kid could drink this and not really have a problem with it. No bite, really. Carbonation is gone. It's completely flat. It's almost the texture of milk. Just a little bit less, what's the word? A little bit less thick. So it's a little bit thinner than milk, but I don't think it's bad. I think if you are a skim milk drinker, you may want to try it this way anyway. It's a good Coke with just a hint of milky taste, whereas this is definitely like milk Coke, like a taste like milk and Coke, where this is like Coke with a splash of milk. So pick your poison. I definitely want milk and Coke, but if you find yourself imagining milk and Coke and you say to yourself, okay, well, I want to have more Coke than I do milk, go for skim. This doesn't taste bad. This is a 6. I would say it's about as on par with the European version. Yeah, I would say they're pretty much comparable in quality. So currently, the winner is the sort of the James ratio of 2 parts Coke to 1 part milk, but with bog standard whole milk, regular pasteurization, none of that advanced stuff. Let's see if we can have some fun in the bonus round. All right, now it's time for 2%. I assume it's going to be somewhere in the middle of skim and whole, but let's make sure. If you don't remember, the king of the hill right now is regular whole milk mixed with high fructose corn syrup Coke in the standard mixture of 2 parts Coke, 1 part milk. So let's try that with 2% real quick here. Okay. First, I got the Coke, and let's pour that out. I'm going to just do 2/3, which is exactly 1/2 of what I've been doing. 2/3 Coke. Make sure that's level. Yep, 2/3 Coke. Go to 1/3 2%. This is what I grew up with. This is what my parents prefer, 2%. I don't know, it's kind of the happy medium. I prefer whole milk, but 2% is, fairly popular. All right, let's get 1/3 of a cup. Got a little splash here. Little spill zone. All right, that's 1/3. who knows? This might be just the magical concoction that makes it amazing. But I have a feeling I'm going to prefer the whole milk unless this really wows me. Okay, there we go. Got the 2% there. Stir it up nice. Okay. I'd say pretty much the same amount of froth as whole. So there you go. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, it's good. Let me compare this back to back just to see. There's not much of a difference there, honestly. I would say they taste about the same. The only difference is that the whole milk one is just slightly bolder with the milk, but it's only just. It's pretty much the same flavor. So if you have 2% lying around, I would say they're pretty much equivalent. If you're going out buying milk specifically for this, buy whole. It does taste better, but you don't need to buy whole if you only have 2%. It tastes almost identical, slightly weaker, but it's about the same. So the champion of the 2/3, 1/3 mixture is definitely American whole milk, which is really good. But one last thing I want to do for the bonus bonus round rather, is I'm going to be trying to mess with the ratio. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pour mostly milk with a splash of Coke on top, see if I like that, and then I'm going to pour that out, and I'm going to do mostly milk with a splash of Coke on top of that, and and I'm going to do mostly Coke with a splash of milk on top of that, and see if I like that. So I'm interested if this ratio play is going to be tasty. First, a bunch of milk. Nice cool glass of milk. No specific measurements here. This one's going to be a little bit play by ear. I'm going to use that much Coke, just a little bit. And we're going to see if that impacts the taste at all. I'm actually very curious. This is the one I'm more curious about. I want this to be good. Just a smidge of cola in your milk. Let's give this a try. God's honest truth, I can't even taste it. So let's throw in some more here, just until it becomes a perceptible flavor, because that was not enough. The milk completely overpowers it. It tastes like you're drinking a glass of milk. So a little bit more Coca-Cola in here. Okay. Say that's about twice as much. Give it a good stir here. That's pretty bad, honestly. Oh, no. It kind of tastes like sour milk. It's not good. Basically, the primary flavor is milk, obviously. But underneath, instead of like a Coke flavor, you almost get like a like a sour, like, I think it's just the citric acid that's coming through. So it's like sour, a sour milk. It's not good. I don't like this. I would not recommend this kind of mixture. No, thank you. All right, I'm gonna pour this out here. And we're gonna do the reverse. So let's pour some Coca-Cola. You know, as much as I'm having fun with Coke milk, regular Coca-Cola can't be beat. Just watering down the experience. All right, more Coke. There we go. And we're going to take our whole milk here. And we're going to give it, we're going to kind of replicate the mistake that I made as a kid. And we're going to just do just a splash. All right. Now I'm going to want to do this quickly here because it's going to curdle and it's going to make, I already see it. It's making nasty little particulates in there. So immediately right off the bat, if you're turned off by sort of the texture or visuals of your drink, if you don't want stuff floating around in your drink, you don't want to do it this way. But in terms of taste, let's see, fresh. It's not half bad. It definitely tastes a lot more like the Coke milk, the ideal Coke milk ratio. And I say ideal now because this is definitely the champion. He had it right. The internet had it right. The only thing I would contend is that the milk choice is key. Go with whole milk. Go with your favorite whole milk, the best whole milk you can find, and that is going to be key. But 2/3 Coke, 1/3 milk is the way to go. This is good. It's pretty close. But you're not getting enough of that milk that comes through to really make it an appreciable flavor. And like I said, you're getting floaties in your drink. It's kind of gross. And if you leave it behind for 30 minutes, it'll actually separate, which is kind of interesting. You'll actually see like the water from the Coke on the bottom, then the scuzz from the milk in the middle, and then the black like tar bit of the Coke at the top. So it's going to get really nasty if you mix it this way and you leave it for too long. But in terms of taste, when you initially first make it, it's fine. It's okay. Nothing to write home about. I'm going to go ahead and give the mostly milk with a splash of Coke a 3 out of 10. Would not recommend. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10, only because the taste is positive, so it would be up there in the 6 and the 7 range. But the actual product itself does not last very long, so it's a lot less convenient. If you don't suck it down right away, it's going to turn out gross. It's going to be a 1. It's going to be disgusting. So don't mix it with mostly Coke. Don't mix it with mostly milk. The golden ratio of 2 to 1 is the way to go. That's pretty good. I'd recommend you guys try this. Honestly, it sounds weird. It kind of sounds gross, probably. But if you've never given this a shot, do it this way. I don't think you'll spit it out or be disappointed. You might not like it, but I don't think it's going to be a horrendous experience for you. I think it's going to be kind of fun, kind of interesting to sort of mix your own. And do your own stuff with it. That's the fun of soda mixing, and that's why I've wanted to do this side project alongside my reviews. It's fun to sort of have a chemistry experiment trying to make your own drink. But I like this. I would recommend it. This is a 7. If you do try it, Let me know down in the comments below. Let me know how it works out for you. If you found anything special to add or change in terms of ratio or your favorite type of milk. Maybe you swap out milk for almond milk. You swap out Coke for Diet Coke. You're going to try a whole bunch of different stuff. Let me know because that kind of engagement is what I'm looking for. And beyond that, of course, like, comment, subscribe. Do whatever you got to do. I love seeing you guys engage with me. That's fun. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I have to do for the inaugural episode of Soda Mixing. This has been a lot of fun for me. So yeah, let me know if you like it. I'd love to do more. Of course, if you just prefer the reviews, let me know that as well, because I do want to do best for you. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So this is Sodanonymous signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.